Ever since I was a little kid, I had an obsession with this idea of flying. I can remember this one time. I lived in Colorado Springs and we went to this incredible hot air balloon festival where we saw these giant balloons just floating through the sky. Man, I'll never forget it. There were dozens of them, colorful giants just floating effortlessly through the sky. And I remember looking up completely mesmerized by these things, thinking that must be unreal to be up there. When I got home that day, I was hooked. I started building all of these little hang gliders out of shish kebab skewers, some cellophane wrap, straws, toothpicks, anything that I could get my hands on. And then I would go outside and I would toss them in the air and just imagine what it would be like to be right there with them, just gliding and soaring through the sky. There was even this one point where I would take one of those great big blue tarps and I hooked all these different strings up to each one of the little eyelets, and I climbed onto the top of my roof and I would jump off pretending to be a parachute man. You know, it's amazing that I'm still actually here and still alive, because I did some pretty crazy things, all for the sake of aviation. And now here I am, actually flying up in the sky, living out that dream that I once had. Not in a balloon, not on a commercial jet, but out in the open air. Just me, a motor, a wing, and God's creation beneath my feet. Here's the thing, never once did I imagine that I would actually be doing this. I'm telling you, if a kid jumping off a roof in a blue tarp can learn to fly, you can learn to fly too. It's a reality. This is something that can actually happen for you. Now you might be thinking, how in the world did he do that? How is this even possible? Especially with no aviation experience of my own. How could I possibly live out that dream and get into the air? I thought that might be a question that you would ask. So I came up with a pros and cons list just to sort of weigh things out for you. See, is this something that could really be a reality for me? Maintenance, it's pretty minimal. And as far as flying goes, you can get about an hour of flying time for the price of a premium gallon of gas, which at least where I live is around $4. Get rid of all those huge maintenance fees whenever it comes to general aviation, where you need to hangar your airplane and you have to have annuals, you have to have all these long tests to test all these little intricate things about you to ensure that you're, making sure that you're up with the FAA. Now, granted, we do have a few rules that we do have to follow, but nothing like general aviation. And the best part of it all is you don't even need a license. Yeah, I said that right. You don't need a license. All that you really need is to find a great instructor that's willing to train you and have you be willing to put in the time. Now, yes, you can technically go and learn and try and do this on your own. That is a horrible idea. Some people have done it, but I would definitely suggest go find someone great to train you, take part in that school, take part in local flying clubs, get in with those people that are there willing to help you every single step of the way. And believe it or not, it's actually pretty safe. I mean, what's the one thing that you want attached to you if your airplane goes down? It's a parachute, right? Well, the great thing about this is you're already attached to a parachute. And on top of that, if for some reason your parachute has a malfunction, you have a reserve parachute that you can throw. It's like a backup for your backup plan. It is generally one of the safest forms of aviation out there. Now for some of the cons. For one, flying paramotors is pretty weather dependent. I mean, if it's too windy in the middle of the day, if it's raining, then flying is a no-go, because you have to have very specific things. After all, you are basically a bed sheet flying with a butt fan attached to you, going through the sky. You need the conditions to be optimal. They say the best time to fly is a couple hours after sunrise or a couple hours before sunrise, where the thermals or the different temperature changes on the earth have sort of settled down, giving you the smoothest air. But apart from weather conditions, probably the biggest con, at least for me, is I had a desire to fly with other people. You know, having this amazing dream coming to be a reality, you want to go and you want to share that with somebody else. And unless you have a specific exemption from the FAA, flying with another person is pretty much a no-go. This is basically an independent sport. which for me, at least, was the biggest con, because I had big desires to be able to incorporate my children and take them up and share in this experience with them. But that just means that I'll have to teach them so that they can come and fly next to you. But even with that, I'll say this. If this is your dream, don't wait. It's not one of those far off, maybe someday type of goals. This is a real goal that's within reach for you. This kind of joy, this kind of freedom, it's way closer than you could ever even imagine. Way closer than you would think.